I'll start that now. And I just want to provide a little bit of information about Mission West as an organization before we get started with our workshop today. So Mission West has been here in Ronan since 1995. We're built up of four separate departments that build up the organization. First is the Mission Mountain Food Enterprise, the Food and Agricultural Development Center in the back. They work with a lot of local food businesses and have a shared use USDA approved food processing facility so they can support really anything you need as a food business, especially early on if you need access to equipment, commercial kitchen, things like that. We have our cooperative development center that works primarily with cooperatives like the name would imply, and they work with cooperatives at all levels from forming and creating membership all the way through actually operating and creating bylaws and things like that, and running a functioning co-op. Some notable examples of clients they've worked with: they worked with Ronan Cooperative Brewery here right in Ronan. They're working with Glacier Processing up in Columbia Falls. They work a lot with Western Montana Growers Co-op in Missoula. They have more of a regional focus, so they've been working with groups in Idaho and Washington and kind of all over in our region. But they're a wonderful resource. We have our Community Economic Development Center, and they're kind of the bridge between our departments here, and they work a lot on some of those community projects that you hear about. So Taylor's really involved in like the revitalization program that the Ronan Chamber is heading up, and there quite a few projects like that around the community. And then there's the Business Development Center, and that's the center that brings these workshops forward. And we work with businesses from startup to existing businesses, kind of at all levels. We work with a technical assistance network that provides one-on-one assistance to businesses. And then we have our in-house loan department that's able to provide financing to businesses really at all stages. But yeah, we manage quite a few grants here, and that's how this workshop is available to you all for free. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Kyle, who's going to lead us on our workshop today.
Right on. Thank you, Wes. And just a big shout out to the people over there at Mission West. They're all incredibly talented and just experts in helping you, the business owner, get started, get ideas, get approved for funding, all sorts of things. So if you haven't had a chance to work with them, try and set up an appointment, get on their calendar. And, these workshops are all great, but where the real magic happens is the support and access that these guys give their time for every day. So get in touch with them. All right, let's go ahead here and go ahead and share our presentation today. All right, everybody can see? Very good. All right, so welcome back, everyone. Or if this is your first time, I'm especially glad you're here. I'm Kyle Wright with Celtic Winter, and today we were going to be breaking down a topic that everybody talks about, but a lot of people are still confused by. How to effectively use social media to actually support your business. And so this isn't going to be about trends. It's not going to be chasing the next platform or hacking the algorithm. It's going to be about building a repeatable, sustainable way to show up online that feels like you and gets you results over time. I'm going to be guiding you through kind of what matters, what doesn't, and finally we're going to talk about how to get some traction without actually burning out. So, all right. So let's talk about why this matters. Most of us are actually busy running our actual businesses. Not all of us run our own businesses that actually are digital marketing businesses like yours truly here. So a lot of us don't always have the time to play the social media game, at least not full time, and yet we do know that it matters. And here's why. People make decisions based on trust, but trust takes repetition. So if you're not showing up regularly, visible, clearly, and consistently, then you're not staying top of mind. And that's what social media gives you. Not viral hits, not likes, but visibility. And a quick side note, to talk about this a little bit more, clients and people in general are kind of asking me this all the time. This is going to follow along with one of my little rants that I've done in the past about doing SEO or other things like that. But a lot of time people will ask me, can you help us go viral? Or can you help me do this one thing? Going viral is one of the things that I get asked the most often. And the reality of it is while there are some people out there that do actually want to go viral, people don't really want to go viral. They want the success that they see that they've associated with going viral. There's plenty of examples of people that go viral, have their lives ruined, they don't convert any sales. But I always use this dramatic example. If I drove 1,000 visitors or let's say 1 million visitors to your website, and all of a sudden everybody was going there, but not a single person bought one of your services or products or did anything really. Great, you went viral and now you've spent a whole bunch of time and energy, but it didn't yield results. So when somebody asks me something like, can you help us go viral? What they're really saying is, we want more attention, we want people to notice us, and then we want people to take action, and we want that action to turn into sales, conversions, or something like that. Going viral is unpredictable, but visibility, that's a system, and that's what we're going to be talking about building today. So, what we're going to cover today. So the first thing we'll talk about is the real job that social media plays in your business, and it's not what most people necessarily think it is. Next, we're going to choose or talk about how to choose the right platform, because being everywhere is not necessarily the goal. And then we're going to dig into what kind of posts actually work, how to build a rhythm that you can actually stick to. We'll also talk about tone and voice, because the way that you do say things matters as much as what you say. After that, we'll walk through some tools that'll make this whole thing manageable, and we'll wrap up with a couple of hands-on exercises, one on tone, one on your actual profile presence. All right, so social media. Let's talk about it. All right, what social media is really for. So, social media is not a billboard, it's not a flyer, and it's not just a sales pitch. What it is, it's a tap on the shoulder. When somebody sees your post, they're not always ready to buy or book or show up that second. But every time that you show up, you're planting a little flag or a little seed in their mind. Oh yeah, they're doing good stuff. Then maybe a week later, a month, when they suddenly are ready, guess who they're going to remember? They're going to remember you, because you've got that presence in their mind. So imagine a client who, one of my clients, or some, imagine a business owner like yourselves who posts maybe once a week. Nothing crazy, no fancy graphics, just real honest updates, not trendy language or clickbait or whatever. She's just going, hey, this is what we're doing, and it's consistent. She's showing up every week, and it's there, and you see it, you see it, see it. Well, after 6 weeks, she gets a message from somebody saying, I've been seeing your posts, and I finally decided to reach out. That last one really hit me. I'm imagining some of you guys have shared or had the similar experiences if you've been going for a little while, and if you have some kind of thing where somebody goes, oh, yeah, I saw you for a while, or I saw that post, or whatever. I'm guessing the people over at Mission West will probably have that happen quite a while. Be like, yeah, I've been seeing you guys for a while. It'll show up on my feed, but I never thought of it. I didn't realize you could do this. And all of a sudden they see one little post, and when they're ready, as long as you're showing up because you're sharing part of their mindset or their mind share, that's how it works. It's going to be this slow magic. Let's talk about choosing the right platform. We get a lot of things all the time, and in this today, we're going to be talking mostly about Facebook and Instagram. Is there kind of one of the big two that I think a lot of small businesses should use. And so inevitably I'll get questions when I talk about this, go, what about TikTok? What about Blue Sky? What about this? What about that? So let's talk about that a little bit. You don't really need to be, and you shouldn't be, on every single platform. Ask yourself, where do your people spend time? Where do your customers hang out? Facebook, it's still the go-to for most rural communities. It's where birthdays get remembered, events are shared, business pages are actually browsed. How many local businesses just use Facebook as their actual website? Think about the community groups and the event pages and the listings, especially the way that we use Facebook up here in the Valley. Think about who's going to actually be on there. LinkedIn, for example, would be great for professional credibility. If you're doing a lot of business to business work, you're doing service partnerships, or anything that involves trust building, that one's going to be a no-brainer. But what about TikTok? We talked about that, and it's been on the news lately, and everybody's thinking about it. Yeah, it's awesome and it's fine. And you hear the success stories about people having great success, blowing up, or going viral on TikTok. But let's think about that. If your audience is young, your target audience about who's going to be serving or getting your products, and your message is visual, and you're consistent, and you're ready to make video all the time, then great. But unless you're doing all those things, it's probably a detraction. It's not the same kind of generator that maybe you're doing. Now, maybe you have a business that you've got a couple great people on it that are in with trends, and they're really all about creating a whole new dance and doing some kind of visual medium and doing these engagement behind the scenes stories and stuff like that. Well, if you've got that kind of content and it's going to be served towards the people that use it, then great. Absolutely use it. But we're not talking about looking for scenarios here where you are already have a built-up system and awesome talent for this thing. This is more talking about building a strategy because most of us don't have this in our back pocket. Most of us don't have, a niece or somebody that has joined the business and they just have taken on over and handling all that because they enjoy it. You do great, but most of us are probably it's a struggle to get out content and be on social media and do that marketing. So at any kind of level, yeah, you can take it to the moon and marketing at advanced level thing. Absolutely. There's all sorts of stuff out there. But at a minimum, the things that we're talking about today are set the base level. If you're not even doing the basics, then trying to go for the viral trends isn't going to be for you. Right. All right. So now that after we've talked about choosing the right platform, we can talk about kind of what to post. But before we do, I think this would be a good time to kind of do one of our question checks to see if we've got anything in the chat. Do we have any questions that pop up? Or I would encourage you guys to ask any questions on anything we've covered so far before we kind of get into some of these other topics here.
I do have one question.
Yeah, let's hear it, Josh.
Hey, how's it going? Will like Facebook be a good platform to prime or build anticipation for like a grand opening, I guess, or
like a launch?
Yeah, like a launch.
Great example. Let's talk about that a little bit. So, for those of you who don't know, Josh's business, they're starting up a new business called Pepper Bandits, and they're going to be doing a lot of really cool farming things down around here in our area. And so, their big mission right now is to be thinking about creating brand presence and kind of announcing these launch opportunities, stuff like that. So, the question was, is Facebook a good thing to do like that? Once again, it's all about where your people are going to be and who you're trying to reach. I absolutely love awareness campaigns ahead of time, and I think Facebook is an absolutely great medium for it. That's going to be kind of a good thing we'll talk about here in like the what to post section. But for Facebook, starting to build that brand presence and bringing things on Facebook and Instagram really are kind of operating in the same way, with Instagram being a little bit more of a visual, so you could do a little bit more picture heavy kind of. That's why people are utilizing a little bit more because they like the visuals, versus Facebook is going to be a little bit more text, kind of a little bit more of a hybrid model. A lot of the times for me personally, I just share, I'll create one kind of post and then I'll push it out to both platforms because they'll speak to each other. It's kind of just a little bit of an advanced technique on, I wouldn't even say it actually, it is advanced. It's a couple button clicks and then you can just automatically share things right on over. So those things do translate well. So whether is this a good medium to do it on Instagram versus Facebook? Yes, any kind of platform that you have, if it's relevant for your business and your clients, then like I said, choosing that is good. Then how you choose to go about your messaging is its whole other thing. And for yours, for example, Josh, ahead of time coming up as you start getting your feelings out there, talking to people, letting posts, and then people are making new posts and engagement. Hey, we're excited to do this. These are the updates. These are the things that people like to see behind the scenes, etc. as we are building up anticipation to actually launch the business. So once we get people start sharing that and engaging more and so on and so forth, and they're signing up and whatever, that's exactly what we'll want social media to be. There's kind of that constant blast. Hey, we're coming. And then eventually the final launch happens of the event. And then you kind of will change your messaging and go from there. But yeah, all these are going to be great for all the different campaign styles that you're going to be doing, whether it's a launch, an event, awareness, working with a partner, etc. Great question, Josh. Thanks for asking. All right. Anybody else questions? We still got a little time for that. Feel free to pop it in the chat if you don't want to pop off mute. All right. Well, let's move on and talk about what to post then. That isn't salesy, as we like to say. All right. So this is going to be where a lot of people will freeze up. I don't want to be pushy. Great, don't be. But don't disappear either. Here's the trick. Make your content useful, honest, and human, which is ironic considering how much of we just did a 3-part course on AI and how to use that to help you write your business. But once again, you're not trying to be something that you're not. Authenticity online is one of the under-talked about methodologies, I believe. We always spend so much time thinking about what will work, what will people engage with? Well, I think at the end of the day, people react to what's real right in front of them and what's genuine. This is the thing that I think a lot of people end up getting turned off by, is when you see something. This is why we all hate clickbait so much. We see a headline or some kind of engagement And then we go there, and it's nothing like what we expected. I think, we've got terms for it all over the place. I'm sure, yeah, but so when a brand is being presented as what it actually is, and there's no bait and switch or turnaround in it, that is going to be one of the things that builds trust. So back to like I said, what should you make your content? Useful, honest, human. Let's talk about some examples. Maybe a behind the scenes photo of your process. People love knowing how things get made. A one-line testimonial from a happy client followed by a short story about how you actually helped them. And there could be an FAQ tip you repeat all the time. If you've said something more than once a day, it's probably post-worthy. Let me just close this window real fast here. All right. And then also a quick insight, belief, or principle that you hold. Something like, we believe local matters more than cheap. If people feel like they're learning something and getting to know you, then you're doing it right. One of the other things that mysteriously people I'm not sure I'm on exactly the numbers of this. Somebody like Taylor would probably have more information about this. But the psychology of people is to gain access to proximity and power and things like that. So it's a really interesting phenomenon that happens when people feel like they're involved and they've got ownership and they can see behind the scenes, almost like they have the ability to reach out and touch something that is bigger than themselves. It's very similar to the reason why we enjoy meeting celebrities or people of power. It's that ability to go, hey, I've seen this thing that I've only imagined, whatever, whether it be, oh, I might see my favorite influencer, so-and-so, see whatever in the wild, or a movie star, or whatever. These concepts of you sharing behind the scenes is kind of like a peek into an inclusive kind of nature, and people really react to that very well. All right, let's talk about what do we got here. Building a simple content rhythm. Okay, so let's talk kind of about building a rhythm. Consistency beats intensity. You don't necessarily need a 30-day content plan. You just need a rhythm that keeps you visible. Now, that being said, depending on the scale and size of what you're trying to achieve, a marketing plan with the content planned out is definitely the way to go. It gives you the heads up ahead of time. You can plan it, orchestrate, and it makes it easier to plan things out long term so that you're not always scrambling. However, one simple rhythm that we can talk about here today is something simple like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, teach something, tip, lesson, a mistake you made, something helpful that you're sharing on Mondays. Excuse me, for Mission West, this might be something like share access to this workshop, or hey, most business owners don't know, or do you know that we have grants and loan programs that you can take advantage of? Then we got Wednesdays. Wednesday could be show something that you're working on right now. Hey, like Joshua and his pepper business. This is we're working on creating this new hydroponic indoor growing system that we're really excited about. Friday, you could invite somebody. Could be a post about your product, an event, or a call to action. Hey, we had some people last week that did a lot of things at farmers markets and so on. Hey, make sure you come visit us at the Saturday's farmers market down in Missoula or up in Whitefish or wherever you're going to be. Check us out. Come visit us, so on and so forth. And that's it. Teach, show, invite, and repeat. Let's say we have another example, could be like a landscaping business that followed this rhythm. Within about 3 weeks, they could be up to 2 new contracts because their posts are finally getting people to say yes to because it's consistent. If it's just shouting into the void, that's great. Hey, we're here. But with this pattern, you're getting people to kind of expect the next steps. All right, next one here, let's talk about kind of your voice and your vibe, kind of your tone and everything that you're going to be using. So people don't necessarily follow brand. And you're going to say, wait a minute, Kyle, that sounds bizarre. People do branding and people know brands all the time. And that's true. But let's be real. They follow the vibes of the brand. What does that mean? Well, your voice matters. If you sound boring, corporate, or inconsistent, people are going to scroll past. So how do you fix that? You get intentional. Well, you could pick 3 words that match how you want to sound. For example, helpful, grounded, real. Then you could look at your last few posts and you could say, are these tone words showing up? If your tone is off, your message won't land, even if your product is great. So let's kind of back up and talk about that a little bit more. Because we've got brand, we've got vibes, and we've kind of got this kind of hypothetical version in the middle. But think about your favorite brand right now, whether it could be Nike, it could be the brand of a cleaning product, something you associate with, something you see on the shelves that you recognize, your favorite cereal, it could be your favorite YouTube personality, whatever it is. Yeah, there's So people ask me all the time, I'm building up my logo and I want to write this blog post and, I want to sound like this or so on and so forth. It's not the colors or the things that necessarily make people enjoy it. If that was the case, well, then it would be green and everybody would only post in green, and green would be the best color for logos because green makes people come in and spend money. But that's not how it works, right? We can use things that help signify our brand. And you look at things like my logo, I use the green and the white, kind of this high contrast kind of vibe, because that's something that's a tone and a shift, a vibe that I really enjoy. It kind of speaks to the Celtic winter, speaks to me being Irish, kind of a lot of my personality, etc. The brand that I've developed over time. The people who will associate with that aren't doing it because it's necessarily cool, but because it works for me. It's something that I've embraced. It's with a digital marketing agency, I have a lot more flexibility with what I could name something, but I wouldn't name a landscaping business. I can't even think of that bad one, for example. But, as far as coming up with examples right now, I'm sure you guys could see where we're going with this, is that, once again, it's important to see things line up. We want to be able to create a consistent vibe that connects with you and that is congruent, and that will not turn people off. So I think where I get hung up on this one a little bit is this right here is a little bit easier to do something more of a hands-on exercise to see in action than it is to just describe and talk about. So that being said, let's go ahead and this would be a good time for kind of like a hands-on exercise. So what I'd like everybody to do is take a moment, and we're going to take about a couple minutes to do this. Go through your last one or two couple of posts that you've made on Facebook or Instagram. Pull up your phone right now, and if anybody's got an example that they would like to share with us, that would be great. But if you haven't posted recently, think about your last email blast, sign, flyer, or even voicemail greeting. Your last communication out. Now, as you look at those, write down 3 words that really describe how you currently sound. And there is no right answer for this. If you think it sounds boring, say boring. Just describe it. 3 high-level words that we could use to describe it, how you currently sound, and then write down 3 words that describe how you want to sound, kind of what your goal would be. And if you don't know how you should sound, that's okay. This isn't set in stone right here. Just, for me, I like to sound a little humorous. I like a little bit of kind of slightly sarcastic humor in some of my posts that I do. I also like to sound knowledgeable and professional, but I like to sound grounded and real. I don't like when things get all jargony or so on and so forth. So now that you've done that, I want to take a peek at these together and go, all right, is there a gap? Do these things line up? And if they don't line up, that's the work. That's where we'll refine something. So with that being said, who's brave enough to volunteer their example, and we can kind of use it, we can break it down together and see what we think. Nobody volunteer all at once.
Willing to volunteer. I'm just trying to snip it real quick.
Right on, Whitney. Appreciate it. Let's work it.
Give me 1 second.
Sure, take your time.
So if I go into chat, looks like I can add a file. So this wasn't our most recent one, but I think it's a good example. It was just 2 days ago.
Okay, perfect.
And we have a company that does backup social media for us, and they had done a post for Nurses Day, but I noticed that the pictures were all stock images. And so I went in there and switched them out for actual images of our nurses, and
Love that.
we got a lot better response, a number of comments and shares and people thanking the nurses for everything that they do. And so I think it was kind of a good case in point of that reminder for me of, yes, that backup is helpful, but I need to keep a close eye to make sure it's on brand and shows that it's, community centered and oriented.
I love that. So would I find this on Facebook or Instagram?
This is on both, but it's definitely on Facebook. That's where I pulled it from.
Perfect. Let's pull this
It's
up.
probably like 4 or 5 posts down though, because we've had a few in the last couple days. It's a busy time of year for us.
Let's see. St. Luke's Community. Awesome. Embarrassed. I should be following St. Luke's already, as my wife works there.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she's down in the billing department, medical
Who's
billing.
that?
Robin.
Nice. Robin's great.
Yeah.
I didn't put the last name together. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, so let's take a peek at your post here that you're talking about. So this is the few down is 2 days ago. Today we honor our nurses, right? All right, great. So let's go ahead and take a peek at it. So how would you describe it currently? How do you think that that post sounds and how it comes across?
To me, it sounds straightforward, caring,
Yeah,
and I mean, it has like a nurturing feel to me.
it does, especially with little keywords like the word honor and the heart of St.
Heart.
Luke. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for dedication, community. And then even I like the call to action is wonderful in there. So glad, happy to see it. Drop a thank you in the comments, engage with us. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, so I think that's fantastic. Now for your goal, is that how you want to sound, or is there a refined version of what you would like St. Luke's community healthcare online presence to sound like?
Well, I admit I found this after it had gone up, and so it was a little bit of a rush job to quick switch it out. So it's not our best work, but I think it's pretty darn close. I agree. I like having a call to action, and I think we want to be straightforward and caring and nurturing. We serve a really diverse and fairly large population for a critical access hospital, so I think it's important that all of our posts are simple and easy to understand, and there's always a next step of, okay, what can I do with that information? So yeah, I think it's pretty on brand. I'd like to clean up the visual a little bit, and I can always tell the difference between what we do and what our backup company does. It's never exactly what you want it to be, but man, is that help appreciated.
Totally. That when you get somebody to help you do the big lift. And like I said, not everything has to be perfect. It's all about this
Yeah.
message. But this is a perfect example. Well, perfect example for what we're talking about. Not so much a perfect example for the workshop because we were looking for something we could improve, and this thing looks pretty much perfect, like you've nailed it. So I'm just kidding. Let's talk
Well, the
about.
recent post, I mean, that's from our backup and it could definitely be improved. It's just here I can quick snip that one.
But I like this a lot. Let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit
Okay.
for this post because this is a really great example. And so when you're talking about things that you want to put in the work, because we can always find little adjustments to get it there. But
Mhm.
if your goal as a hospital, and this is where it becomes important to establish what your standard brand is, because I hear the wants in there. Like you said, we do want to sound nurturing. We're a community hospital. We want things to be easy said than done. This is a good opportunity to define that. Get that down on paper instead of like, yeah, we want, be like, nah,
Yeah.
this is our brand. And then so now everything that runs through, whether it's you guys doing it or the backup company, these are the instructions that you can give them. Hey guys, when you send out a post, these are the parameters that it must hit. It's got to sound like this. These are our things. Here's a few examples of what it looks like, and then you set the standard on it. And then, as over time, as you continue to put these things out, whether it's a simple thank you, the point of a post like this is not necessarily to get ROI or return on investment right away. Remember, we're talking about what social media it is. It's not a billboard. It's not a sales call. It's not a sales pitch. It's a reminder. Hey, we're here for you. And we're going to keep being here for you because we're St. Luke's Community Hospital. We're not here to talk down to you. We're ready to be helpful and remembering and thankful for our nurses and a part of the community. And as you keep reinforcing that brand right there, I mean, it's not. That's the beauty of something like St. Luke's, though, is that you guys are an established brand, and I would think most everybody knows that. But as you continue to provide that message, that keeps that brand to that standard. So that's a fantastic example right here. You said a few up is the backup one.
I put it in the chat. It's definitely a not great example. I mean, it's a good example of what I'd like to see us improve, I guess. A little more stark.
Yep.
It's literally the butt of an ambulance.
Yep. Okay. Stock photo, like you said. Emergencies don't wait. St. Luke's things are here for you 24/7, close to home. Learn more. All right, great. This is exactly a post. So does this sound nurturing?
No.
Does it sound grounded and easy to like a real person wrote it?
Probably not.
Right. So if you were to redo this one, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, no pressure. This is where the creative juices, we'll see if they come into play. What would you think an example of something how would you clean it up? What would be just a simple little blurb that you would change to reflect the tone?
I don't think the message is bad. I think the emergencies can't wait. We're here for you 24/7 is a good hook. But I think coming at it from more of a caring standpoint is like, Oh, and I see we've got a typo in there. Gosh, that drives me crazy. You know, that we're here for their family and show maybe a picture of a kid
Oh.
who's injured and the mom is nervous, or that they're on the phone and the kid's not feeling well, you know, to kind of create more urgency around a care, caring situation, or empathizing with that caregiver instead of literally an ambulance that doesn't have feelings.
Perfect. That I love exactly what you've done there because you've changed the messaging instead of, hey, when panic, when things happen, here, St. Luke is here. Instead of that, it's approaching from more of the nurturing way. Hey, we understand that things happen and St. Luke is here for you and for your family. Things go wrong. Instead of, here's the panic, here's us in the background. It's more of a comforting style message.
Mhm.
And that goes perfectly in line with the brand of nurture and grounded and community, just like you said. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's really
Oh,
helpful.
thank you very much. That was great. Like I said, things like that are always better to work through practical examples than
Mhm.
listen to some guy talk about it hypothetically forever.
Yeah, and I think you get so fixated on posting consistently that you don't always think about posting meaningfully. So that's a good reminder.
100% posting with intent. And once again, not everything has to be the most dramatic, thought out, whatever. I've got a client that is right up a business and he provides some different services to people in the emotional support realms and things like that. And he's having the hardest time getting going, launching content because everything is to be perfect. He doesn't know what to post. And I told him, you know what? Just go for a walk, take your phone and just talk to people. Hey guys, I'm Alex, and I'm going to be introducing. Just get started. Like once you can at least get started, you can start getting on this plan and get the ball rolling. But once again, consistency
Yeah,
messaging that is exactly the way that you want it because it's on purpose with being
yeah.
intentional, just like you say. Perfect. All right. Anybody have any questions? I know on that part, I know we covered a lot of ground and kind of talked about some different examples right there. So I want to give anybody else a chance to ask any clarifying questions or share any of their own success stories. All right. So let's move on to our second audit. We won't be doing as many practical examples and talk about this one unless anybody wants to talk about theirs specifically. That is always open, but I won't put anybody on the spot this time. So let's check your front door, as I will say. Open up your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram right now, and let's run through this checklist. Go through a couple of things. I think we did this on your digital media presence with Google My Business and a few other things last time. So this will be a good time to do it for your social media. Number one, we're looking at, is your photo recognizable and current? Does your about section actually help people understand what you do, or did you get lazy there? When was your last post? Is your contact information easy to find? If I want to give you my money, how easy is it for me to do so? And is there a next step, like a button, call to action, or a link, like we looked at Whitney's post there with the Nurses Day, and it said drop in a comment. People decide in seconds whether to trust you based on this page. And this is a high leverage fix that pays off super fast. I talked about this a little bit last week, but we'll kind of mention on it again. Think about the last time you went to check out somebody's website, profile page, Facebook, whatever it was, and it was only half completed and it wasn't current. And you probably went, who the heck are these guys? And you probably noped out unless you already knew it was them and you just know that oh, that's just Bob's business and that's how Bob does things. But if you've never done Bob business, based on that, you probably wouldn't start now. So if these things are not in the clear, I urge you, that's one of the big things you can do today, this weekend, whatever it is. Take a little bit, take a few minutes, go through, think about your tone, brand, etc. Use some of the tools that are out there and go for it. All right. So some tips and tricks. Let's look at some of the other parts of this. So okay, so let's make your life easier. One of my favorite ones to start with when it comes to social posts and things like that is Canva. I am a huge, huge fan of Canva. I'm not a great designer, and when in my best, I've got a couple people that I'm using and some designers that I can trust, but for myself, I know enough of the rules, but I have a hard time creating something from nothing. Canva, it's free, it's simple, and it makes your post look polished. It's got a bunch of amazing templates people are putting in all the time. You can pop in your brand colors, your template, all that kind of stuff. It's even got some AI tools in writing on it now. Even if you're not a designer like me, or if you're, sorry, let me be specific. If like me, you are not a designer, Canva is a fantastic way to go. Their business suite is increasing all the time. It's awesome. Even if you are a designer, use it. Use Meta Business Suite to schedule Facebook and Instagram posts at once. A lot of people don't know that you can actually schedule posts. It's something you can do right there in the back end. There are other programs that can do them for you as well, like Buffer, Ladder, Social Pilot. There's a variety of them out there that do a whole bunch of different fun things, but you can just learn how to do it on the back end in the Meta Business Suite. There's some great YouTube tutorials on it, so forth out there. And once again, I'm always available. I offer services in this thing if you're having struggles with it, but realistically, it's not terribly difficult and it is pretty user intuitive once you get back in there. And that's the real win is batching. Batching your content. Block off an hour in a week. Write 3 posts for your week. Schedule them out. Done. They'll automatically go out when you've scheduled them to go. It saves you the hassle of posting every single day and then constant part of that. Now, the other part to that is obviously the social media engagement. There's a couple different strategies to that about making sure that you're responding to the post, taking an hour at the end of the day, every 2 days going through, responding to comments, double checking your metrics, etc. Once again, just like last week, we could talk for hours on getting to the nitty gritty of social media strategy and literally everything that you can do from applying your advanced metrics and seeing engagement and advanced strategies. But at the end of the day, this is mostly about kind of getting started and some quick wins to get you going right away. So like I said, there's a bunch of these different tools out there that can really make your life easy. A couple of templates on Instagram so you can do repeatable style posts for the visuals. Even just a simple plan about, hey, these are the rules that I want to do. Setting your brand, your tone, and what each week you're going to be wanting to do with that content flow like we showed earlier. So let's talk about, I didn't even go to the slide here, so apologies. So yeah, Canva, Meta Business Suite, Buffer, and then batching your content. And once again, this slide deck will be made available along with the recording as well for those of you that wanted to remember some of these. All right, so let's talk about some of the metrics that actually save you some time. Metrics that actually matter. And here's what I want to talk about. Thing about the vanity metrics. Vanity metrics. I really don't care if you got 4 likes or 40. You say, oh, that sounds weird. That's like the whole point, isn't it? Well, I care about whether the right people saw your post and remembered you. Ask, are people commenting, messaging, and tagging others? Are they saying, I saw your post in real life? Are you seeing any increase in clicks, walk-ins, calls? Let's think about a hypothetical client that had a post with 8 likes, but it actually brought in 2 sales compared to the client that I've had that had 500 people like his post because it was cool, and then nothing happened. Now, when I say nothing, once again, it's all about making, trying to get a certain kind of thing. With Whitney's post, for example, we're raising awareness for the hospital and the community and making sure that people know that it's Nurses Day. Well, we're not going to see a return on that. We're not going to probably be looking at the statistics and went, wow, based on this post, we had 50 new people come take advantage of the services in the hospital. I don't know that that's the best measure of success if you post and then you have 50 new people come into the hospital. That might be a different kind of issue at that point. So, once again, how are we measuring, engagement and these kind of things? Well, we're all posting for different reasons. We may post, like I said, raise awareness about who we are. We may want somebody to actually, hey, do this thing right now, engage with my business, or buy now, or sign up, or last chance, whatever it is. Like I say, are they actually seeing you? Are they engaging with you? What is the post actually doing? So metrics that actually matter, once again, are engagement, beyond messaging or beyond likes, tagging others, messaging, commenting, stuff like that. And then even still too, if you're asking your people, how'd you find me? And they're telling you, oh, I saw you on social media and blah, 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 blah. Well, then that's kind of a measure of how you can know it's working. That's your real return on investment. So let's talk about some common pitfalls to avoid. Things that I say no to. Posting randomly with no plan. Copy and pasting AI-generated content without tweaking it in any way so that it sounds like you. Vanishing for weeks, then posting 7 things in one day. Writing like a robot, even if it is technically correct. Or trying to manage every platform when you barely have time for one. Good marketing is consistent, human, and honest. And that's, at the end of the day, all people want. People need a thing. You have the thing. You're letting them know that you have what they need. All right, homework. What to do this week. All right, so here's y'all's 5-step game plan. We've talked about this kind of throughout a little bit, but I'm kind of formalizing it now and assigning it to you. So, number 1, you're going to choose your 3 tone words. Yes, you can have more, but once again, we're starting with the basics here. We're setting a good foundation that you can build on. Choose your 3 tone words, the 3 tone words that either sound most likely or what you want to end up sounding most like. Fix your profile photo and your about section. We already had you do it on your website. If you haven't done that because you're new here, go do it. If you don't have a website yet and need one, come talk to me. Number 2, fix your profile photo, or no, I already did that one. Sorry, number 3, write one post that's helpful or interesting and try and schedule it. Try and use this tool on the back end of Meta. It's free. You can schedule a post and give it a shot. You see how easy it is. Number 4, try one new tool this week. What I have to say here? It says use the PDF tools list. So I would say Canva, a scheduler, something along those lines. Just try, even if you haven't used AI to help you come up with the tone or strategy for it, give it a shot. And then number 5, reflect on what felt easy, what felt hard. Think about it, keep engaging, keep looking at it, and let us know what's working for you, what is, what isn't. But stay engaged and keep watching for stuff all the time and keep advancing your different knowledge of it. Build that foundation and keep moving forward. So that's like a hypothetical homework. The first 4 are going to be things you can actually do. Number 5, what I really want you to, like I said, actually reflect on what felt easy, what felt hard, what the difference is, and then just think about things that you can do to work on that. Remember, you don't need a 90-day plan. You just need some momentum. So while I've got y'all's attention and you're scrolling and got your phones anyway, if you're finding what today helpful and you enjoyed what we were talking about, got some QR codes right here. Check us out, Instagram, Facebook, follow Mission West, like, comment, let us know how we did. Give some feedbacks of the workshop. Let other people know what you liked, if it was helpful or not. The same thing I'm telling you guys to do. We do the same thing up here at Mission West. I do it with Celtic Winter, work it with Mission West. We like to be able to let people know that you guys enjoyed what we brought and it's helpful so that we can continue helping people. You can search for Mission West Community Development Partners, or you can use these QR codes. They'll take you right to either the Instagram or the Facebook page. Let's see here. Like I said, it also helps us stay connected to see what works and what doesn't. And then that way you can continue to see more of the tools and resources that we share with small business just like yours. All right, so leave that up for a second here, but I will be sharing those back out. All right, we've got a few last minutes here. Q&A. Bring your real life questions, anything that we wanted to, any success stories, little questions. This is y'all's time. Content, tools, anything. No such thing as bad questions here. Let's work through what's got you stuck so we can walk out of here with clarity and confidence. But yeah, as we wrap up here with questions, if those of you that are going to take off, thank you for joining us. Remember, my final thing, you don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to say the right thing the right way at the right time. Social media doesn't have to be overwhelming. It needs to be intentional. And thank you guys for being here. You've already done the hardest part, starting. So I'll kick it back over to Wes to close us off, and then we'll finish up with any questions anybody has. I'll stick around.
I don't have much else to add. I will email out a survey if you would prefer to give us feedback that way. Like Kyle mentioned earlier, we love your feedback. It helps us fine-tune things and improve everything as we continue to roll things out in the future. And thank you all for joining us today. But there's a few more minutes, so if any of you have specific questions for Kyle, now is your chance.